Hi there. How can I help you today?
Tell me, do you like scary movies?
Do I like scary movies? I'm wearing a Silent Night, Deadly Night T-shirt that I got from a horror movie T-shirt company. I love scary movies. Now, to be more specific, I'm really into like the all types of whether it's the French New Wave extreme slashers. I think slashers are really underrated. I love myself some slasher films. There are so many great ones out there.
Well, what's your favorite? Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. So you like Jesus? Maybe I got the wrong number. Slashers, huh? You like you like slashers? What's your favorite? You got a list. I'm going to so enjoy. I'm going to enjoy killing you.
Anyway, there are so many underrated ones out there. I just finished watching this video that Daniel from Kyle Bips did. It was like a top 10 retrospective on hello, hello. That was rude. But yeah, let's talk top 10 underrated slasher films. In 1979's Silent Scream, Rebecca Balding is looking for housing and she can't find it on campus. So she meets with Avanda Carlo from the Munsters and finds this, what seems to be at first, the perfect option. She finds a kind of off campus, kind of a boarding house. But things are creepy. There's a creepy daughter played by Barbara Steele. There's the Avery Schreiber, the comedian, is in a more serious role along with Cameron Mitchell. And this movie's original movie, because pretty much everything in this film was reshot because it didn't work out initially. You will see if you're watching the girl watch the movie on TV, because the movie that you see on the television set during this is the actual original Silent Scream that they were not happy with. So yeah, what happens when you get the guys that did Pitch Black and Fly 2 to go back in 1979 and make a horror film kind of right after Halloween came out? We get Silent Scream, and it's a really good one. Definitely check this out. It's a great addition. Scorpion put this one out with a ton of features, and the conversation about the stuff behind the scenes is almost as fascinating as the film itself. In Matt Farnsworth's The Orphan Killer, poor Marcus and Audrey are sent to an orphanage after their parents are killed during a home invasion. Now, Audrey is a cute little girl and gets adopted. Marcus doesn't have it so lucky, and Marcus Miller becomes the orphan killer. How does it work? Well, he's finding his way back to little, but now Big Sis, played by Diane Foster. This is a gory blast of fun that came out in I think 2011. There is supposed to be a second and a third one. Like Matt Farnsworth, the director, wrote the scripts for a second and a third film. We have yet to see them kind of come to light. Hopefully, that's something that he's taking his time to do and get done right, because I really enjoyed the first one. I think Diane Foster was incredible. I got to meet them, and that's where I got my film from. Also has a pretty kicking soundtrack. So if you like heavy metal music, you're gonna really kind of dig the soundtrack to Orphan Killer. It's one not to miss out on. And I know they put out a steelbook afterwards with some extra stuff in the making of, which I would actually like to upgrade to. But I got this one from them when the movie, just after the movie came out. Orphan Killer is definitely one of those, if they really want to go on, especially now with Terrifier and with Pearl and X and all that out right now, it's the perfect time to go in to kind of establish a brand new horror character and a kind of a new indie franchise. This one is a lot of bloody fun, and if you like that, you're gonna love this. 1983's Curtains is an incredible exploitation film that not only has a fantastic cast, including the girl from Black Christmas, Lynn Griffith, who's incredible in this film, but by a ton of others. But here's the thing: this is a slasher giallo type of hybrid, so it almost didn't make it on this list. However, it is definitely slasher enough to be considered. There has a great, one of the creepiest masks you're going to see in a slasher movie film, and just such great, wonderful atmosphere, almost kind of dreamish, nightmarish type of atmosphere to it, and what I consider to be a really cool reveal in the end with the killer. So if you have not checked out Curtains yet, then 100% do, because this is one of my all-time favorite slashers, and one of the ones that I do find certain sequences are actually very, very creepy. Check it out. From the director of Romper Stomper and a version of Macbeth that's actually kind of underrated and worth seeing. With Sam Worthington, we've got Cherry Falls. Cherry Falls here stars the late Brittany Murphy. We have Michael Biehn, Gabrielle Mann, and Jay Moore, among others. It's a really cool film, and the premise is a lot of fun. Unlike in a lot of horror movies where the virginal person is the one that is going to be the final girl, we have a serial killer that's going around killing virgins. So what do? Why, the teens in the town decide that, with the parents' blessing, mind you, hey, maybe we should have an orgy. That way, if the killer wants to kill people, he can't kill anyone that's not a virgin. That's the premise of the film, and it's really, really fun. Now, this one is one that will always be cut because the uncut version of this one no longer exists. That being said, what's still here is a fantastically fun, dark, funny, satiric, crazy film that came out during that time period when a lot of the meta horror, the screams, I don't know, Little Summers were coming out. Cherry Falls is one of those that kind of falls under the radar, and I really, really think you should check it out. I really love this film. It is so much fun, and I've watched it and rewatched it, and it's one of those where I thought when I went back and watched it again, it wasn't going to have ring with me quite as true, but it still did, and I still love it. All right, this 1982 film is a lot of fun. Girls' Night Out stars Hal Holbrook, David Holbrook, Rutnya Alda. We also have in it the fantastic Laura Marie Taylor, who you've seen from Friday 13th. If you're a soap opera fan, then you've seen her from that as well, and of course Julie Montgomery. What do I love about this film? Pretty much everything. We start off with this character by the name of Dickie Kavanaugh, who is dead, we think, by suicide. But as they're burying Dickie, the grave, people that are burying the that are digging the grave, they meet a horrible, horrible fate. And suddenly somebody in a bear mascot costume with steak knives shoved through the paw and a hilariously funny bear mascot costume is stalking and killing some of the people in the university. This one is a lot of fun. You will see it coming. I'm not going to lie to you. The killer is pretty obvious from pretty early on. Specifically, if you notice one sequence which really, really gets focused on a bit too much. But there's a lot of great fun to be had with this film. And Girls' Night Out has always been a favorite of mine. It came with the Girls' Night Out slipcover or the Scaremaker slipcover, which I got, which is what it went for. The title went under for a little while when it was in, I think it was sort of a limited run. I actually like the Girls' Night Out slipcover more, and kind of wish I got it. But I got the Scaremaker one, so at least I still got the film. Because remember, guys, it's the movie that matters. Another fantastic era release, and another one from 1982. Seemed to be like a golden era when it comes to these type of films. Deadly Games is a highly underrated one. And of course, since it's 1982, yes, Steve Railsback is in this movie. As is Colleen Kemp and June Lockhart, by the way. This is way, way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I sat down and I watched this one, and I realized that I did remember seeing it before, but I just had sort of like glimpses in my mind, so I hadn't remembered who the killer was or any of that, and I knew it was this weird film that goes in these strange directions. The lead is almost kind of like meant to be semi unlikable, and that's not really unlikable. She's likable in an Annie Hall type of way. She's kind of overtly quirky and very, like kind of Elle Brooks ish in the way that she is, and the style of the film kind of tonally changes throughout. This is definitely a film that harkens back to movies like well, way before, but reminds me a lot of like Scream in certain aspects of it. Not in the like in some ways, but there's a whole, when you're watching Scream and there's this almost like homoerotic substance between like the two killers. Yeah, that's way more like prevalent in Deadly Games. Are there two killers? Is there one killer? Is there three? Is there? Well, here's the thing. This movie, Deadly Games, was extremely ambiguous with a lot of the stuff that it done, and it is one of those that ends with that, for a lot of people, the dreaded freeze frame. But for me, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I have to say, if you haven't checked this out, like really give it a chance and kind of dive into it. There are some wonderful features on here as well, kind of really putting a context to this film. Because what I like about this film is that it's unlike a lot of slashers, like your Friday 13th and stuff like that. We're looking at people that are not teenagers, that are a bit older, that have a bit more life to them and a bit more substance. People that are going through things and are kind of like experimenting with their life and the way things are. There's kind of like shades to like a kind of a swingers party. It was that era, it was 1982, and relationships that aren't really working out, but they're kind of hanging on to them. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. Even a throuple is kind of mentioned in here. Kind of like winked and nodded at, like really blatantly winked and nodded at. The alternate artwork is right here, and feature-wise, there is a ton of stuff. There's a brand new commentary on here from the Stereo Continues. Always love their stuff, so I got to sit down and listen to that because this was a favorite find for me this year, actually. Ruben Galando Jr. made a trio of really fantastic horror films that were put up by Vinegar Syndrome. Grave Robbers is probably my favorite. See, the leader of satanic cult is getting ready to he's going to raise the son of Satan type of thing. When luckily they stop him, they shove an axe into his chest. He's left under the ground. But what do teenagers do on a wacky night? Well, they go rob some graves actually, and in doing so, they reawaken this guy. So it's kind of like Satanic Jason is what you get out of this one. It's very Friday the 13th esque. I mean that in all the positive ways. It is such a fun film, and Ruben Galando Jr. has a real eye for the camera and for just the set pieces. And there's a different style and uniqueness to it. The two other films that he put out are just amazing as well. And Daniel from Cobwebs, who inspired this video, mentioned one of them, one of the other ones, because I didn't want to choose the same one on his list. But I knew I could not make this video and not have Ruben Galando Jr. here, because this is such a fun film. And this is from 1989, so it's a latter era film. I've had a lot of 1981, 1982s, even some 1979 stuff, but this is a later 80s one that still really rings true. It's gory, it's fun, and for a slasher, you just really can't go wrong with Ruben Galando Jr., and you definitely can't go wrong with Grave Robbers. However, where you can go wrong is if you're like the teenagers in this movie and you decide, hey, let's make some extra money by robbing some graves. Uh, you know, working at your local diner, paper out, much better option than grave robbing. Doesn't end up too well when you do. That's not cranberry sauce. Actually, it's tomato paste. It's from a vegan chili. But I digress. Blood Rage is an absolutely fantastic film. I really enjoyed the heck out of this one. Again, another Arrow exclusive. As you can see, I gotta put it. The case got broke, so I got to get a new case for it. But it is a really, really good film, and if you've never checked it out, I seriously recommend that you do. This one came out in around 1983. I think I'm correct with that one, because it had a couple names. The Nightmare at Shadow Woods, and that edition is on here, by the way. Because if you get the limited edition, you get that version of it as well. Uh, but it is about twin brothers. When they're young, their mom is kind of making out in the car, and she takes them along at the driving because that's what you do, right? Um, their mom is played by Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman's Louise Lasser, by the way. Anyway, so they're at the drive-in, and they see two teenagers making out. One of the brothers kills kills people and puts puts some blood on his brother, and puts the weapon in his brother's hand. Years later, his brother escapes from the asylum, and murders start anew. And this is a absolutely fantastic and extremely fun slasher film. It is one of the Thanksgiving slasher films and the best Thanksgiving slasher film that I can think about. Watch for an early appearance from Ted Raimi at the beginning of the film. Just a lot of fun. One of these really, truly great little slashers that I can't, I can't just talk about enough with just the way that the killer is. The guy does such a good job in playing the two roles that it almost does seem like two roles. So if you've never seen it and you don't know the reference that I did at the beginning of this portion, watch the movie, come back, watch the video, and you'll be like, oh, that's what you meant. In 1984, we got The Mutilator, aka Fall Break. It's a fun little slasher film that starts out with a really cool little weird premise, and basically it's this: he trying to make his dad happy. I'm getting photobombed by Pixario there. What happens is he's going to clean the gun. Unfortunately, accidentally kills his mom, and his dad is never happy again. In fact, he's a miserable old bastard. Is what he is. He asks his son for, after years not talking to him, to come and fix up the family cabin, planning, of course, to kill his son. What he doesn't account for, and what is that basically his son is going to bring up friends to do it with him. It starts off with an hilarious song that makes you think you're going to watch a totally different type of film. I think it's like Spring Break going on Spring Break. It's really really cool. But what's really nice about this film, what I really enjoy about it, is that this movie actually has characters that, although like they're we would seem to be like basic tropes, are ones that I really really enjoyed. So and I got invested in. So when the characters die, I feel kind of bad. It has a bit of a rush to the ending aspect of it, but it's something that I cannot stress enough that you should have in your collection of your slasher fags. This is a really good one. Three runners up if this was a modern day slasher list. So basically, as you can tell, we're doing like mostly 80s. Actually, pretty much all 80s. Even one that was done in '79 was released in 1980. But three, if you want some more kind of like modern takes, want a little bit more of a freshness to it, I'd recommend Your Next, which has a wonderful Dwight Twilley song that it's definitely back from the day, but it's been kind of redone here. It's a really good film with a wonderful final girl. It's severely underrated, and I truly enjoyed this one here. So Your Next is definitely a recommendation. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. It's by Adam Wingard, and it's one that took a while for me to like really warm to, but once I did, I really did. Now, something that never took long for me to warm to at all was the wonderful Better Watch Out. It has a wonderful twist in around the 20-minute mark or so, 28-minute mark of the film, but when it does, it becomes this entirely different film, and it is a brilliant film with some amazing performances. Please go in blind watching this one. What I did like is that my edition of this one initially came, and I got it at the farm with a Christmas card. And last but definitely not least is one that I really think is probably the most underrated and like underlooked one on here, and that's Patrick Lucier's film Trick. So if you've not seen Trick, it really is a treat. It's a fun film, and it kind of harkens back to that '90s era of like horror and and slashers. And I had a lot of fun with this one here. It's got a great cast. Omar Epkins, Tom Atkins is in this one as well. We have a role there for Jamie Kennedy. So just some really cool stuff. Apparently, Pixie Oreo likes it too. So there you go, Pixie. And let's get straight to number one. Hell High is a wonderful film from 1989. Yeah, we're finishing off with 1989, a latter one, and I say the Raging Fury title, but this is the original title there, Hell High. It is a wonderful, wonderful film. See, I stumbled across this one because of my soap opera roots. Of loving soap operas. Christopher Cousins, who'd done a bunch of soap operas from One Life to Live to Another World to a bunch of that stuff, is in Hell High. So I saw his name, and so I'm going to check that out. Ended up really loving this film. So this little girl at the beginning of the film witnesses this insane accident, tragedy. Years later, there are some teenagers that have some issues. If you've ever saw class 1984, you know what I'm talking about, that are terrorizing their teacher and decide to really go out of their way one night to really take it a step too far. What happens? Well, this happens. This fantastically wonderful, wonderfully shot, wonderfully made, brilliantly, wonderfully acted for this type of film. Especially in 1989, when you're not expecting to get like the quality you're getting, like say in an 81 or an 82. The fact that this is up as number one for like my hidden gems kind of 80s era slasher films really says something for the fact that there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of really cool hidden gems. This is a wonderfully fun film. If you don't have it, like Arrow did this amazing edition of it, and they loaded it up with special features. I strongly recommend that you check this one out. And in case you're wondering, yes, it does have that archival Joe Bob Briggs commentary that was on the initial DVD release of this. Unfortunately, the initial DVD release of this was cut. This one isn't. And because it was cut, like Joe Bob was at points was talking about things that we weren't seeing on the screen, which now we can see on the screen. Hell High is number one, and easily my these are 10 movies I could put on at any time and just enjoy the hell out of them. The top 5 or 6 probably get more rotation than the others, but I don't think there's anything in that list that I just mentioned there that I don't absolutely love. Guess I should have known from the phone call.
Sometimes you call the wrong person. I love my job.